No, when you use the words, I didn't have sex with a porn star, you're not winning, you're losing at that case.
That was Gavin Newsom, governor of California, a Biden surrogate following the debate between President Biden and Donald Trump. And I know there was this initial reaction, and I get it, looking at the theatrics of it and President Biden having trouble speaking for people to say, oh, it's time to panic. But what's actually interesting is looking at some of the voting data of undecided voters, Latino voters, it seemed to actually get that Donald Trump, American voters are smart, and realizing that Donald Trump was lying the entire time, was not answering any of the questions. And as this one voter basically said, and this was kind of the general sentiment of the Univision panel, was that even though President Biden has a speaking problem and he has a stutter, he clearly laid out what he'll do and what he has done. And undecideds saying that at least President Biden was answering the questions and not talking about overthrowing elections. And let me just show you that clip right there, and then I want to talk a little bit more about it. Here, play this clip.
Fue el tema que más acaparó su atención en este debate.
El hecho de que el señor Trump solamente volvió a lo mismo, a decir lo mismo, en cuanto a que él es el peor presidente, que Afganistán, pero no contesta, no dice qué voy a hacer para remediar cosas. El señor Biden, a pesar de que sí efectivamente está un poco lento al hablar, sabemos que tiene ese tartamudez, que no es muy grande, pues, pero de cualquier forma el hombre sí explicó qué estaban haciendo y qué hicieron, qué están haciendo todavía, porque todavía sigue siendo presidente. Después de estar indeciso por un rato, yo creo que hoy me voy a ir por el presidente Biden.
And if you haven't been watching the Univision undecided voters, I mean, nearly every single undecided voter said they now support Biden, not Trump. It's just an interesting observation there. I mean, again, it's just a small sample group, but I thought it was interesting. Now, more from President Biden's surrogates. Here you have Jasmine Crockett coming out strong after the debate and just saying, look, Donald Trump lied about everything. Play this clip.
Hello, everyone. So I represent Texas, and we know that abortion is on the ballot. And to be clear, tonight we saw two things. People can choose between a con-in-chief or a commander-in-chief. And so what we saw was someone who sat up there and was acting as if he was some used car salesman that wanted to just tell us whatever and pretend as if it was fact. The reality is that our president submitted to you what looks like substance. The substance of the issue is simple. We have somebody that is bragging about the fact that he took Roe v. Wade away from us. Whereas we know the next step, they've gone after mifepristone. They want to go after contraception. And unfortunately, in the state of Texas, they're talking about instituting the death penalty. What the American people have to decide is that they're going to choose themselves. This election isn't about all of the lies that Trump is selling you. What it's about is the facts. The facts are that he took that right away from us, and he wants to take more rights away from us, and he did not shy away from it. Every time he didn't want to answer a question, he just decided to deflect. The reality is that people are dying. We had over 26,000 women that were impregnated in the state of Texas alone in the last year since the Dobbs decision as a result of rape. That is unacceptable. You all know the story of Kate Cox. You know the story of Dr. Denard. You know the story of women that are potentially losing their lives. And so there is only one clear choice, and that clear choice is Joe Biden and the blue team. And that's exactly why we're here.
So that was Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett right there. Here's another clip right here of Gavin Newsom following the debate. Let's play this clip.
You work with him again?
Well, we'll see. He's calling me new scum. He's really elevated. I think my 7th grade friend called me new scum. That's the elevation of the maturity of Donald Trump as he's gotten older. But look, I'll work with anyone that wants to work to advance the cause of this country, my state, and the world we're trying to build. That goes back to the civility of shaking someone's hand. I'm just not that person. Open hand, not closed fist. We vehemently disagree with one another. I live in the most un-Trump state in America. We were involved in 120 22 lawsuits against the Trump administration. But when it came to COVID, when it came to wildfires and floods,
He delivered for you.
Well, he delivered because we had to go a long way to kiss the proverbial ring. That's the difference between this guy. And that's what you're seeing. It's a bit of a kleptocracy of sorts. That's what he's running right now. Look at the folks that are doing these fundraisers for him. It's all about what they can carve out to get in return for themselves. Trump, yes, I know it's a talking point for us, all about himself. Everybody knows that, including his supporters. But he's carving out those with means, including making deals for $1 billion on oil and gas, and I'll take care of your regulations in public. This is corruption of the highest order, and we will always call that out. At the same time, I'll work with anyone that will work with us.
All right.
And look, and I understand that there's this prevailing narrative of corporate media because, President Biden didn't show up. He was certainly not jacked up Joe. He wasn't energetic, and he definitely struggled. It was sad to watch a little bit because that his heart was in the right place. That he was answering the questions honestly, but let's face it, he was struggling to answer some of the questions. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was like a maniac, just lying over and over and over again. But watch, this is loyalty right here. Here's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom when he was asked by Alex Wagner on MSNBC, do you think Biden should step aside? I think Gavin Newsom gave a great answer here. Play this clip.
You were out there getting a chorus of questions about whether Biden should step down. There is panic that has set in. There is panic that has set in among people who have watched this debate, who are Democrats, people who are strategists, and some even inside Democratic campaigns. Yeah. Do you think it's unfounded?
Well, I think it's unhelpful, and I think it's unnecessary. We've got to go in and got to keep our heads high. And as I say, we've got to have the back of this president. You don't turn your back because of one performance. What kind of party does that? It's been a masterclass. 15.6 million jobs. That's 8 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined. The only thing the last 3 Republican presidents have in common is recessions. Democrats deliver. This president has delivered. We need to deliver for him at this moment. With all due respect, the more time we start having these conversations, go down these rabbit holes, it's unhelpful to our democracy, our fate and future of this country, the world. They need us right now to step up, and that's exactly what I intend to do.
And then here you had Vice President Kamala Harris. Here's what she had to say. Play this clip.
And in particular, because what we know is that when you look at the two sides of the ledger, what we had in Joe Biden is someone who wanted to have a debate based on facts, based on truth. And in Donald Trump, we had what we have come to expect, which is someone who's going to push lies and distract from the reality of the damage he has created and continues to create in our country. When I think about the significance of the substance of what is before us in November in 130 days, we are looking at a president in Joe Biden who has done historic work, whether it be on addressing the infrastructure issue in America. Donald Trump, remember, kept talking every week was going to be an infrastructure week. It never happened. It was Joe Biden that made it happen so that over $1 trillion is hitting the streets of America to upgrade roads and bridges. You look at what Joe Biden has been able to accomplish in terms of delivering for the American people, whether it be the creation of 15 million new jobs, over 800,000 manufacturing jobs, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, what we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month, finally taking on big pharma and allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. These are the substantive issues that the American people care about. And what we saw tonight is more of the same. Joe Biden fighting for the American people, Donald Trump fighting for himself. Not to mention on the issue of choice. There was a very clear contrast. Joe Biden is very clear when the bill comes before him to put back in law the protections of Roe v. Wade, he'll sign it. What we know about Donald Trump, no matter how much he's trying to distract us from this, is when he was president, he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe. That's exactly what they did.
Here's actually a good fact check, I think, that CNN did, where they went through all of Donald Trump's lies, and quite literally, every single thing that Donald Trump said during the debate was a lie. It was lie after lie after lie. Here, let's play this clip.
deep breath. He said some Democratic states allow people to execute babies after birth, an egregious lie that is illegal in every state. He said everybody, even Democrats, wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. Roe was supported by 2/3 of Americans, even more Democrats. He said every legal scholar wanted Roe overturned, abortion returned to the states. Legal scholars have told me directly this is not true. He said the U.S. currently has the biggest budget deficit ever. No, that happened under Trump in 2020. He said the U.S. currently has a record trade deficit with China. That also happened under Trump in 2018. He said Biden personally gets a lot of money from China. Zero evidence of this. He said there were no terror attacks during his presidency. In fact, there were multiple attacks. He said Iran didn't fund Hamas, Hezbollah, other terror groups under his presidency. Iran, in fact, did. He said Biden wants to quadruple people's taxes. That is pure fiction. He said the U.S. has provided way more aid to Ukraine than Europe had. It's actually the opposite. He said the U.S. has provided about $200 billion in Ukraine aid. It's closer to $110 billion. He said 18 or 19 million people have crossed the border under Biden. That is millions too high. He said many of these migrants are from prisons or mental institutions. His own campaign cannot corroborate this. He said Biden has only created jobs for illegal immigrants. Total nonsense. He said Nancy Pelosi turned down his offer of 10,000 National Guard troops on January 6th. There's no evidence she even got such an offer. It was the president, not Pelosi, who had the power to deploy the DC Guard. He said Pelosi now acknowledges she turned down the troops. No, her office tells me this claim is still a lie. He said he deployed the National Guard to Minneapolis in 2020. Actually, that was the Democratic governor. He spoke of, quote, ridiculous fraud in the 2020 election. Zero evidence of any widespread fraud. He said NATO was going out of business before he took office. Completely, clearly absurd. He said the U.S. was paying 100% of NATO before he came along. The U.S. made up about 71% of NATO defense spending, not 100. He said he, not Biden, is the one who lowered insulin prices in Medicare. He did it for some seniors, but Biden did it for far more. He said Biden indicted him. Again, no evidence Biden has had a personal role in any of these 4 prosecutions. He said Europe takes no U.S. cars. Just not true. He spoke of food prices quadrupling under Biden. That's a wild exaggeration, though they are up. He said Biden made up the idea he called dead service members suckers and losers. No, the Atlantic magazine reported that, and then former Trump Chief of Staff John Kelly corroborated it. He said Biden called black people, quote, super predators for 10 years. Biden never once deployed that phrase, let alone for 10 years, though he did at least once speak of, quote, predators without specifying it was about black people. He said his Trump tax cut was the largest in U.S. history. Not true, though, in fairness, Biden also said this. Trump said China and others stopped buying from Iran under him. China never stopped. He revived his pet lie. I don't know how many times I've done it, that he signed the Veterans Choice Program into law. Barack Obama did that in 2014. Trump signed an expanded version in 2018. And finally, Trump said Biden got rid of that Veterans Program. Biden has not done that.
You know, and lies where Donald Trump said things like this. Play the clip.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one.
And where Donald Trump said America was most respected on January 6th. Play the clip.
On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people.
Or Donald Trump refusing to say that he would accept the results of the 2024 election. Play the clip.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week.
Or Donald Trump bragging that he passed a cognitive exam. Play this clip.
For President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter. But
so I think it's important, again, to reflect on what they were saying, not necessarily how they were saying it. And look, I understand from an optics standpoint. I mean, look, I get it. I'm not trying to say that I thought President Biden came out great and strong. He didn't. He didn't show up, I think, the way he needed to, knowing that there's that narrative. But I think we know where his values are. We know he's trying to answer the questions. We know that he is going to support our democracy, and we know that he's supporting our allies. And I thought that was one of the things that showed most there. So tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers, and go back and watch our post-debate coverage that we did, because I think we really went into lots of detail about our initial reactions, and hopefully it's on point, and hopefully you respect that we are not going out there and saying, oh, we think that Biden won. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Donald Trump won. I think Donald Trump lied. I just think Biden didn't show up the way he needed to. And I understand the concerns out there. I do. But I also understand the work that Biden's done for our country. I understand what he's accomplished for our country. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.